How do you spell love? How do you spell care? Home and hope. At One Equine Therapeutic Riding Center in Central Texas, they spell all those words the same way. R.O.C.K. Nestled in the peaceful, rolling countryside of Georgetown, Texas, north of Austin, small miracles take place, one hoofbeat at a time. The Ride-On Center for Kids, or R.O.C.K, as it is affectionately called by those who come here as home, is a place of caring, a place of hope, a place of unconditional love. A brown-haired child with a tender smile sitting atop a horse. A hard-working, dust-covered volunteer. A smile from an instructor. The healing soul and body of a soldier. The understanding gaze of a horse who knows he is taking special care of his rider. All of these and many more come together to enable the unique and transformative environment at the Ride-On Center for Kids, which provides clients with a diverse array of healing programs. Woven into the personality and fabric of R.O.C.K is acknowledgement and affirmation of the many people who have transformed this center from a pebble at its infancy to the rock it is today in so many people's lives. At R.O.C.K, an army of angels comprised of 28 horses, 24 staff members, and 350 volunteers per week provide support services for hundreds of clients who come here to experience hope, caring, fellowship, and the healing power of horses. But perhaps the centerpiece of their program is what this healing place does for our soldiers returning from Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as World War II, Vietnam, Korea, Desert Storm, and other previous global conflicts. As of November 2011, nearly 4,500 soldiers have made the ultimate sacrifice in conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan to protect the freedoms we enjoy. And over 30,000 men and women warriors have returned with serious physical and psychological wounds that they will likely carry for the rest of their lives. In addition to physical disabilities and lost limbs, many soldiers struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder and/or traumatic brain injury are having difficulty integrating back into a normal society after experiencing the horrors of war. Still, thousands more soldiers from World War II, Vietnam, Korea, Desert Storm, and other conflicts have faced these challenges for decades. Those who have come to R.O.C.K have found healing with their horses, their wingmen, who will watch out for them, support them, and be there when they need them the most. J.B. served our country in Vietnam as a captain in the infantry and was injured when his vehicle hit an anti-tank mine. His wingman is Scooter.
I got out of the military as a captain. I was an infantry officer. I was in I Corps in Vietnam. I was with the 1st of the 61st Infantry, 5th Division, and I got blown up on March the 2nd, 1969. My track hit a double-stacked anti-tank mine.
J.B. nearly lost his leg in combat, but his strong sense of duty sent him back into the conflict.
I almost lost my leg, and they took me to a MASH unit down in Quang Tri, and I was in the hospital for a month. And in the meantime, they'd lost so many officers out of my unit. We got a new battalion commander in, and he sent the battalion chaplain down and asked if I wouldn't come back to the unit. And the surgeon got a little upset. He threw his pad across the room and yelled in no uncertain terms that he'd saved my leg once. He wasn't sure he could save it twice. But I told him I really felt it was my responsibility to go back. So I went back on crutches, and I couldn't run an infantry platoon, so they gave me a mechanized flame platoon to go out with the companies. And I rode on top of the flame track. He's a sweetheart. I love him to death. Just being around him, grooming him, riding him some, it just, all the cares of the world just sort of melt away. he brings me great peace and great joy. He's a wonderful animal, very noble.
As a Vietnam veteran, JB felt a desire and strong sense of patriotic duty to now help our soldiers returning from Iraq and Afghanistan, and volunteers at R.O.C.K, in addition to now taking therapy sessions for his own challenges.
We get a lot of young men from Fort Hood that have just come back, and some of them not in such great shape, and I felt like I had something to give to them. Horses, particularly for young men who may have come back with injuries, are not able maybe to do some of the things that they were able to do before. In a lot of cases, they may, what's the term I want to use? They don't have control, many instances, over their lives that much anymore. You can take and put them on top of a 1,200-pound horse, and they're in control of something. It gives them a great sense of accomplishment. It's just a wonderful thing for them. Like I say, it gives them time that they don't necessarily think about other things. It clears their mind. I say it gives them a feeling of accomplishment. But it also, like I say, it gives them something that they're in control of. And it's amazing sometimes you see young men that have some problems, and you put them on a horse and they forget about those problems. It's amazing to watch the transformation over a period of 6 months. Sometimes it can be really dramatic, and it's wonderful. I recommend it to all the young soldiers out there.
Our program, R.O.C.K Ride On Center for Kids, started in 1998 with 1 horse and 4 kids as a hobby. And it's grown to what it is today, which is now serves about 200 clients a week and 350 volunteers and 30 horses. I'm still learning how the horse is instrumental in helping people if they have post-traumatic stress disorder or a traumatic brain injury. The horse gives a lot of feedback that's honest. Sometimes when you have post-traumatic stress disorder or a traumatic brain injury, you get defensive listening to the people around you. You don't know who you can trust, you don't know who's a good mirror, you don't know who to believe. And so somehow in working with the horse, they find a safe place that they can interact and learn about themselves and somehow accept some truths about themselves.
For those soldiers who lost limbs, the challenges are more obvious. But for those suffering from PTSD or TBI, it is the unseen wounds that become the most disabling of all. PTSD and TBI can be as crippling as learning to recover from the loss of a limb. And the incidences of suicide, major depression, and other emotional issues are both alarming and increasing. Effects that can last for many years or a lifetime. Laura served in Iraq and took the reins of an Apache helicopter during 2 tours of duty and now serves in the reserves in Conroe, Texas. Laura's come to know both military horsepower and the power of horses. Laura's wingman is Cash.
I received my commission from NC State University, and then I went to Fort Rucker, Alabama for flight school, and then I went to South Korea for a year. And then that brought me to Texas, to Fort Hood. And then I was in Texas a year, and then Iraq 15 months, back to Texas, and then back to Iraq, and then finally back to Texas. So this is where I've been the longest. And currently, I got off active duty about a year ago, and I'm currently serving out in Conroe, Texas with a reserve unit. I flew Apache helicopters, and I still do that in the reserve. Well, flying a helicopter is a whole lot of fun. There's a lot more to it than just flying it. You've got to, you're navigating, and your aircraft carries weapons. So in combat, we utilize those weapons a lot. Did convoy securities, we did helped with medevacs. Of course, we didn't pick up the patients, but we escorted the Black Hawks to pick up the patients. We would go find people that the ground guys were looking for. We would help them find them. And we would find vehicles or IEDs that they wanted us to, they would find them, and we would follow up helping them out, just different things. And there was engagements. that we had to do. Cash, he, when I first got to R.O.C.K, when I first started working here, or volunteering here, I was working with Mancha, a ranch horse, and then as he's gotten older, Cash came into the picture, and he's been a great horse. We get along good, because now I teach school kids, so he's like a little kid, and he's young at heart, so I like that. He has, well, they're all therapeutic in their own way, but Cash specifically has just kept that young heart in me, you know, because you come here and you're usually tired at the end of the day, and he just brings your spirits back up. He's always energetic, and he's always so curious, and he just keeps me on my toes, which is good. Right? Yeah. This program is very, like I said, it's very therapeutic. You know, you don't have to be diagnosed with PTSD or TBI. I'm not diagnosed, you know, by the Army standards, but everybody changes when you go through a deployment. And the transition that you have back to, I want to say normal life, but civilian life, it's a hard one. And you keep things to yourself an awful lot. And with a horse, you can just let it out. You know, the horse is kind of like a sounding board for you. And so it's helped me because, you know, you come back and your family doesn't quite understand. I'm sorry. They see right through you, you know. You can't hide anything. Yeah, but you don't have to show it, you know, you can just show it to the horse. You don't have to necessarily show it to everybody else. Yeah, so he's special. Yeah, he's very special.
I thought that a lot of the soldiers would want to work on their physical injuries, and sometimes they do. They have balance issues or traumatic brain injury, but by and large, the soldiers that we work with, that we have the honor to serve, they want to have better family relationships, they want to feel more peace, and they want to get along better with their kids, and they just want to function. And so sometimes coming to a place which we hope is safe for them, that's what we try to provide, they learn how to function in this environment. And then we hope that that carries over. So it's a journey, and we're just a little catalyst for that change that they seem to need in their life. Well, the two components, well, there's really three components that we offer, but one, we offer the horse, which is intriguing. And so it has a little bit of mystique, and it's a strong animal. It's also a prey animal, which I believe our veterans, when they come home in this world, tend to be prey. They don't know how to fit, so that they have some camaraderie with the horse there. Then we offer the program to be modeled with other veterans. So we have World War II veterans, Vietnam veterans, Korean veterans, all these other veterans coming and holding that space. But for them to work, these men and women getting to work with a fellow veteran is really powerful. And so, and then we also offer good food. So, you know, one of those is always a good attraction, whether it's the other veterans or it's the horse or it's the good food. But by and large, it's the horse that has made the big difference in their life. And I know they love the staff and they love the other volunteers, but the horse somehow touches a part of them that nothing else was really working. Sitting in a counseling office or trying to reconnect with their family or going through any of the many programs that the military offers for these folks. There's lots of great programs with wonderful intentions. And for some of these folks, it's just not working. And so they get in their house and they lock the doors and they stay in their houses sometimes as a recluse for 3 and 4 years. And then someone drags them out here to R.O.C. Horses for Heroes, and they can't give you eye contact, and they mumble, and they don't really know if they want to be here. And if they can just keep coming, before you know it, they give you eye contact, and they're talking, and you hear about them getting a different job, and maybe asking somebody out on a date, and their lives changed. We've seen a few weddings come through here, people that we never thought, and we've seen a lot of people get jobs and move on. Our whole organization is to improve independence and life skills through partnership with the horse. And that's what R.O.C. Horses for Heroes does as well, is if these folks can improve their independence and life skills in partnering with the horse, then that's what we want to see, is that improvement out in the real world. It's in subtle ways. You never know exactly how you're going to see it, but it happens all the time.
Eric enlisted in the Marine Corps at 17, but transferred later to the Army and became a commissioned officer. He received a scholarship and became the youngest team leader in his company's history. Eric started his career as an armor officer for 2 years, then became an ordnance officer in heavy munitions. While getting ready to deploy to Iraq in 2004, Eric was pinned between two 5-ton engine cans in a crane accident. But Eric did not want to leave his troops preparing for Iraq, and so pushed through his pain and injuries. While in Kuwait preparing for Iraq, Eric collapsed when he lost all feeling down the right side of his body. They determined that his shoulder was shattered and he had severe trauma to his spine. To receive better care, Eric was going to be sent back to Fort Hood in Texas.
And for me, it was heart-wrenching because I was, I had to leave my troops, which, to me that was worse than any injury, having to, leave them at their time of need when they're getting ready to go up. I was one of the few combat veterans in our brigade, so I had been leaned on heavily to help some of the others because our brigade commander, our brigade XO hadn't ever been to combat. So it was real hard, and for a long time I felt like I let them down. And so they medevaced me back.
Further testing revealed the true extent of Eric's injuries.
I had screwed up 3 of the 4 discs in my neck, one severely enough that was a C4-5, which is right in the center and it controls a lot of your movement. And then the bottom 3 lumbar discs were severely damaged, the last one especially.
Eric has been in R.O.C.'s program going on 4 years.
It has helped me so much, and I try to tell the other service members that come into the program that I said, if you really want to see results, you need to come every week. I was so depressed by that point that my doctor and my spinal surgeon, my therapist didn't think I was going to make it much longer because I was rock bottom. I lost pretty much everything I'd worked so hard for. So it was real tough. So I started working with a horse named Pokey, and he was such a wonderful horse. He has a special place in my heart, and I can't explain it. He was amazing. I mean, no matter what type of day I had, he right away, as soon as he heard me, he perked her up, turned around in the stall and waited for me. He was just one of the most gentle horses I've ever, and he did. And then he passed away a year ago, September 2010, and it was like I lost a family member because he had helped me so much. And when I finally, kind of wore my doctor down and Nancy down for them to let me ride, Pokey was the one I got to ride. I can't ride for very long because of my pain, but I eventually worked up to 25 minutes with him, and that 25 minutes was like, hours to me, and it was the best ride. It was amazing.
Eric sees a lot of his beloved Pokey in his new Wingman Skipper. Skipper senses his needs and takes care of him, and Eric takes care of Skipper.
He's just an amazing animal, and all these horses are, it's hard to explain, but you really see miracles happen here, and I never thought I'd be walking as well as I am. It's been an amazing program.
Eric has already contributed over 4,000 hours of volunteer work, helping other fellow soldiers through their challenges.
Again, the horses and the veteran volunteers make such a big difference. It's just such a great program.
I think one of the takeaways, besides how amazing the horse is, that's the most exciting part about this, I think, that there's this amazing connection with the horse and the servicemen that we serve and work with, the military family. But the other component that I think that we just need to remember is one of the first steps in healing for any of us is participation. And that first step in participating is one of the first steps in healing. It just happens that our program is weekly, and it happens to be a fellowship. And that fellowship, because it meets weekly and not maybe just once or twice a year, I think it offers a continuity that maybe explores some further opportunities for healing. And that participation is a big step for them. But the draw, 100%, is the horse. And I can say that we've seen a lot of folks, maybe not get their life back, but take what's left of their life and learn to put it together in a functional way and have an enjoyable life. So it's very rewarding, and it's been an honor in every way, every step of the way, to serve these folks, just like they served us. When we first started, Scott and I said, if we could just help one soldier not live under a bridge, just one, then we will have been successful.
You stood strong, you fought the wrong, even gave your lives when called upon. Follow me was your motto. Thank you, vets. Semper Fi was your motto, boys. Thank you, vets.
In the coming weeks in this 13-episode TV series, our hostess, Paulette Carlson, Grammy-winning country western performer and founder of CMA and ACM Vocal Group of the Year, Highway 101, and tireless champion of our soldiers and veterans, will guide us through a journey of courage and inspiration as we visit horses and our heroes from across the U.S. We'll take you to the prestigious Caisson Platoon, the Old Guard at Arlington National Cemetery at Fort Myer. Then continue on to therapeutic riding centers at Mount Rainier in Washington, Pikes Peak in Colorado, and around the country, where miracles come to our soldiers, one hoofbeat at a time. Join us for an odyssey of hope, inspiration, and courage, and witness the healing power of horses in My Horse, My Wingman.